Welcome to Living the Bucket List, where you'll get to meet some extraordinary people with a vision for a crafted life, which I hope inspires you to go after what matters to you. Get out there and live your bucket list. Right, welcome to Living the Bucket List, and today we've got the pleasure of having a chat with a very interesting character, Gregory Sanzo. Greg, did you make the call?
Yeah, how's it going, man?
Good, buddy. Good, good. Look, thank you very much for taking the time to have a chat with us tonight. Now, the conversations we've had recently, there's been some very, very interesting things going on in your world at the moment. Do you want to tell us about what's happening in relation to integrative narrative curation, what you've got going on there?
Yeah, I just recently started that company. It's a service provider that kind of doubles as a personal protection service. What we do is we show people the city of Bangkok and other places in Thailand in a way that they might not be able to experience without, mine and my team's expertise of the area. And, just being familiar with the culture and the cool places to go and being able to navigate through those situations with ease can really create another type of experience for people that might not be able to get that otherwise.
You also mentioned that there's a bit of a foray over into the music festival Day for Night as well, bringing that into Thailand. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Day for Night just had second year in Houston, Texas, where I'm from, and it's now becoming a pretty worldwide brand and looking for expansion pretty rapidly. It'll be happening in Los Angeles this year, and then we're looking to bring it to Bangkok and then other markets as quickly as it may allow. Now, as you may know, Thailand and Bangkok in general are massive markets for the music festival type thing right now, and it only really makes sense for us to bring it here. Now, what Day for Night is it's a different take on the music festival. It brings together visual art installations as well as like every genre just about of music. So it's a real interactive experience compared to the typical I'm just going to go see a bunch of bands or a bunch of DJs play. It really kind of ties a whole new type of experience together.
Can you see any links between there and what you've been doing with the clothing company?
What I want to do with my clothing company and as well as ink and every venture that I'm really getting off the ground right now is it's all kind of tied together with one basic idea. And the clothing line is going to have some graphic tees that kind of have that same style of art that will be recognizable throughout each venture. But we're gonna do a high fashion line as well that'll be more appealing to just kind of that type of style right now, that high fashion streetwear. And we kind of want to do everything. We want to touch into some women's clothing as well and kind of just see where it goes. But it'll all be under focus of Sanzo Incorporated. So each one of those ventures all kind of ties in together.
It all hinges back, from what I can see, on your chasing your dream and moving to Thailand to pursue kickboxing as a professional sport. How is that going for you?
Pretty well. Muay Thai is it's a hard industry. It's filled with ups and downs. And being a fighter, I mean, you go through. I mean, just each fight camp itself can be a roller coaster. I mean, the emotional side of things, the day to day, it's pretty grueling. But I mean, you lose some fights, you win some fights, and I mean, it can be a lot to deal with. And it's my life. I moved here to pursue that as a career, and I wouldn't change it a day. I love it. I love every second of it. The hardest times, it's still I'd much rather be doing this than any other real type of job.
From when the first time I met you, you could see that passion in what you were doing, and it was extremely generous of you to tell us how we could go about getting to see some decent quality kickboxing while in Thailand. right down to telling us to explain to the taxi driver Chong Jet. I'm like, yes, that is great. Where did all of this begin for you? Where did it all come from?
So, I've always been an athlete, and in college, I played soccer for a couple years, and then I left college to pursue a music career, and that kind of got me into the music industry, which, we've kind of touched on already. But after I did that for about 5 years and toured the US, I, went back to pursuing being a personal trainer and got back into soccer and playing at a high level, and just realized that maybe it was kind of past my time to reach actual professional level and play, and make a real career out of it. So I needed something to push myself. So I'd done some boxing and done some taekwondo when I was younger, and always been interested in martial arts. And, I always knew Muay Thai as being one of the most efficient striking styles there is on the planet. I took one class and fell in love. And then about 2 months later, I made my first trip out here to Thailand, and it was supposed to just be a training trip. And about a week into my training at my first Muay Thai gym, the boss there, he looked at me and he pointed at me and he said, "You fight in 2 weeks." I was like, okay. So I had my first professional fight about 3 or 4 months into training, and I won that fight by breaking my opponent's arm in the first round. And I think after that, I was pretty addicted.
Yeah, I've gone by some of the video footage that I've watched of your fights. They certainly aren't gentle by any means. So you mentioned there before that you had a little bit of a foray over into the music area. Now, was that when you were playing bass for before there was Rosalind?
Yeah, I played bass for that band for a while. That we were on Victory Records, and that was it was a pretty successful, you know, go at the music industry. We went from the bottom to a pretty high level and being able to tour nonstop. And I saw the ins and the outs of it all. And through those experiences, at the time it kind of put a cynical taste in my mouth, because that stuff's not easy. But I'll always have a passion for it, and I still am actively in a band back home. It's a little bit different take, but it's still a little, it's an aggressive punk hardcore style band. It's called These Days, and that's pretty easily found on Bandcamp. It's these days tx.bandcamp.com. We're looking to release something new here pretty soon too, but that band specifically it's for fun. Everybody in that band has been through all levels of the music industry, and we're doing it just for fun. We have no real intentions of touring or making it our lives like it used to be. We all have other lives now. For example, me being in Thailand.
Yeah. What are some of the challenges or the barriers that you faced, like moving from where you were living over in the States to Thailand? Pretty big culture shift.
I think moving here, it's like I sold everything I had and just packed up and made the move shortly after. Well, I fought in the U.S. for about a year after my first trip out here, but the whole time I just I had this calling to just go for it. And after fighting in some tournaments and fighting on some promotions in the U.S., I asked my coaches, like, what's my best move here? And I already knew what I wanted to do, but they just confirmed it. They said, "Well, go to Thailand." And that's what I did. But like I said, Muay Thai can be a harsh industry, and Thailand in general, of course it was a culture shock. I had to learn the language quickly. I had to adjust to everything from food to the culture to people to customs. It's just everything's completely different. I mean, as far as Muay Thai goes, it's a business, and I've been set up to lose. I've had to change gyms because of struggles, and I've made some mistakes and all that. I mean, it's all a part of it. It's all a journey. I've definitely done some things the not so easy way, but like I said, it's been a roller coaster to get to this point in my career. But now I'm where I belong, and I'm in the best situation possible for me to make the most of myself and actualize my potential.
With the barriers that you've overcome, what advice would you have for someone who's facing their own barriers in whatever part of life it may be?
Well, I mean, diligence, and I think finding that will to continue no matter how hard the struggles might be, it's pretty important. Now, I've always stuck with that mentality to move forward. Now, I've spent time in my career and time in my life in general just treading water, but once that feeling of being stagnant hits, it's kind of a wake-up call. I mean, as human beings, we're meant to experience new things and to continuously grow as people. That involves new experiences, not doing the same thing or coasting through life. I don't personally, I don't believe in that, and that's the only way I think that you become a better person and is through new experiences.
Just out of curiosity, Gregory, if you could have dinner with three people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Oh man. Well, I think definitely Raymond Deckers. He, you know, it's just kind of hear his struggles and what he went through in his career and to reach the height of his potential, like, would be really interesting to me. I mean, he was the first foreigner to come over here to Thailand and to capture the stadium belts at Rajadamnern and Lumpini, and he fought the best during the height of Muay Thai, during the glory days of Muay Thai, and he fought monsters, and then he became one of the most feared fighters on the planet. I mean, if you're in Muay Thai or kickboxing, and you're gonna know who Raymond Deckers is, period. And he would just, I think, to pick his brain and to hear his advice and his philosophy would be great.
I love the nickname that he acquired through his career of the Diamond. Just that symbolism
Yeah,
of being unbreakable.
yeah. No, Raymond the Diamond Deckers was what the Dutch and Westerners called him, but here in Thailand they called him the Turbine from Hell, which just kind of says a lot about his style of fighting and how he just never backed down, and he was always coming forward and always looking to end fights, and one of the most exciting fighters to ever watch, really.
Very, very fast, and you could see a lot of his moves were very deliberate and powerful.
Yeah, bad intentions always.
So, who would be the next person you'd invite to the table?
I being a martial artist and being somebody that has a career in that, and I really believe in the benefits of studying a martial art for not only just physical when for exercise reasons, but mentally it helps you grow as a person. Now, I think Bruce Lee would be a definite for me, because besides being arguably one of the, I mean, if not the best and greatest martial artist that ever lived, his philosophy and teachings, I think they translate to everyday life for anybody. I mean, he had a lot of profound things to say, and his teachings, I think, impacted a lot of people's lives at his time.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the quotes that stands out to me, it's almost iconic, is the 30 odd seconds of be like water, become the glass, become the teapot.
Yeah, absolutely. There's one story one of his pupils tells about, like, they were on a run and doing their typical 3 mile, and then Bruce Lee told his pupil, let's continue on for 1 more mile, and his pupil stops and says, no, I can't, I might die, and Bruce Lee stops and looks at him and he says, then die, and then runs off and continues his run, and his pupil stops and is just completely taken aback. And when he approached Bruce Lee later on and told him how that made him feel, he made a very good point. It's like, if mentally you don't believe you can do something, there's no chance. You have to you have to believe before you can actually achieve anything.
Very true. Very, very true. So, who else would you invite to the table other than Raymond Deckers and Bruce Lee?
This one's kind of, the third one's a little bit of a toss up for me, but I would have to say Muhammad Ali. I know that being a martial artist and a fighter, that might be three cliche answers, but I think Muhammad Ali, being the humanitarian he was, and the just the type of person and his prowess as a fighter, that's something that I think even just a couple conversations with someone like that could really help, someone progress mentally and get the most out of what they're looking for. Just with a little bit of advice from somebody like that can really jumpstart somebody.
Yeah, definitely. When he's coming out with quotes like "impossibility is not a fact; it's an opinion." 5 minutes.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And I'm all about that. I think, you know, like my father, he's one of my biggest inspirations. He's always said to me, whatever you want to do, you can do. It doesn't matter what it is. You put your mind to it, you can achieve it. And when I was a kid, I used to hear that all the time, like, put your mind to it, you can do it. I'm like, yeah, sure. But like, I don't, that didn't really start making sense to me until I was a bit older. And now I live by it. I strongly believe in, manifesting and visualizing and making your own reality through your own thought process.
So you talk about your childhood there. Now, is there a particular childhood experience that stands out to you the most?
Yeah, I would have to say probably hitting my first home run. Like I said, I was an athlete my whole life. I played soccer, I played baseball, I played football. I did martial arts. I did everything, but I I always was chasing that first home run. Like once I got into like the older levels of like little league and stuff. I don't know what it was. I was always on base. I was always getting base hits. I was always hitting like doubles and triples, but I hadn't quite hit that out of the park home run. And then I remember hitting my first home run, and I remember almost the exact same conversation. Is like, you got to stop thinking about it and just do it. It's what my father said to me, and I remember making contact with the ball and watching that ball fly over the fence and watching my dad freak out because he was one of our coaches. But I just remember at that very moment, it was I had actually believed that I could. There was no doubt there. It was well, this can happen, and I know I can do it. As far as that fence may have seemed, at that very moment, it became a lot closer to that home plate. And it was all about belief.
So that particular instance, do you feel that that's carried through into your adult life and served you in any specific ways?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we've been touching on, I think the power behind believing in yourself and like, actualizing your own potential it's a mental game. You have to conquer yourself mentally to really progress. And I think that's our biggest struggle as humans a lot of times we sabotage our own selves by not having the belief in our own ability and succumbing to either negative influence or just negativity in general. It tends to make us, it creates self-doubt and all this. But I think once you realize the power in the belief in your own self and believing that you can achieve things if you put your mind to it. I mean, of course, preparation and all that's there, but I really believe that it's more of a mental game than anything.
So with what you've learnt over your years, if you could go back in time and give a lesson to a 20-year-old version of yourself, what would that be?
uh, you know, 20 years old, I was starting to tour, and I was still in college, but I was playing soccer still and playing music at the same time, and I was going through all sorts of stuff, my all sorts of crazy life stuff. But I think I would probably go back and make it very clear to myself that no one's going to hold your hand through your struggles in life, especially through your adulthood. And I would make sure that I knew the importance of preparing for my future at a younger age.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. At the moment, I'm working with a bunch of school students who are basically 16, 17 years old, about transition out of their school life and into their work life, and it is a really, really stressful period in time. And it is one of those things, trying to share with them the things that I wish I'd known back then. So, talking about traveling back through time or through experiences, if you potentially could, if you could revisit one place or time in your life, when or where would it be and why?
Um, I think right about that same time period, about yeah, about 20, 21 years old when my mother passed away. Now, she had a long history of some drug and alcohol abuse, and at that time, like I said, I was beginning to tour and play music during my off times from collegiate sports, and well, I had an opportunity to see her, and I chose not to. I mean, I was on tour with my band at the time, and uh, I could tell that she wasn't doing so well, and I just didn't, I didn't understand the importance of me going and seeing her at that time. And then she shortly passed away, and for me, it goes right back to grasping most, and the opportunities in your life that later on you can always look back and be like, man, I should have done that. And but that's one of those things that you can't pass things up in your life, be it opportunity for growth or to impact someone else's life that might mean something to you. Yeah, I think I would definitely take that opportunity up and visit her and see if I could hopefully impact her life in a positive way at that time.
That really does stir a lot of thought and emotion. It personally makes me consider my perspective with family as well, and how much time I'm spending with them. So thank you for the gift of that wake up call. Could I ask, as far as like living life to the full and taking those opportunities that are out there to really grow and experience and share, what are the top 5 bucket list items for you?
Well, for me, I think I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna leave my top one for last year, but I definitely want to catch an English Premier League match in England. Like I said, I've played soccer or football, depending on where you're from and which terminology you want to use. I've played since I was a young child, and I've always loved the sport. And I think seeing a match in England at a Premier League match in that atmosphere would be, it would be undescribable.
The chanting is one thing that certainly gets me going. The goosebumps just going. You can feel the environment just start to creep through the speakers on the television. It's really quite amazing. So, what else is on the list for you there?
I definitely want to see the Northern Lights. I mean, I think that's kind of that's obvious reasons there. It's probably one of the most beautiful things that you could witness in your lifetime. But I have a real strong passion for being in nature and experiencing wonders of nature, and that just seems like something unreal to witness.
What else is on the list for you?
I definitely want to learn how to do the whole squirrel suit diving. Now it's basically a base jump, but you have a suit that once you open up, you basically have wings, and it's the closest thing to flying, I think, without any sort of machinery humans have done. And I'm an adrenaline junkie, and that just looks like a blast.
The adrenaline side of things is really up there. The beauty of nature, and look, I suppose the EPL, that match in England, that's going to stir senses of adrenaline as well. What else is big for you? What's got your imagination?
Well, yeah, I think the next thing on my list is going to be maybe the temples and the gardens, Kyoto in Japan. I think the culture, the art, and the history behind that city and its untouched craftsmanship, everything there. It just seems, in comparison to Tokyo, it just seems like it would be a very peaceful destination and something that would really touch deeply on me and my life and the things that I really enjoy. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm a city boy. I'm from Houston, Texas. It's, one of the largest cities in the U.S. And now I live in Bangkok, which is one of the largest cities in the world. And but still, I have a strong desire to be in nature and to live that quiet life.
What is it about that area that attracts you apart from the culture and the history there?
Through my life and the things that I've gone through, I'm a bit of a spiritual person now. I've become more of a practicing Buddhist in recent years, and I'm still, which that's a journey in itself. And it's all about learning. And Kyoto has apparently a large number of Buddhist temples, and their whole culture there and everything that it is just seems very, very peaceful, and very spiritual even, which is, it's very, very attractive to me.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. With the visual image of cherry blossom season and just the beauty of Japanese architecture right through to the culture, it definitely is something that a lot of people have on their bucket list. Yeah. All right. So you've been holding out on me here, Gregory. What is at the very top for you?
Well, I'm Italian. Well, I'm American, but I come from an Italian family, and my family's, rather Americanized. They came to the U.S. during like the whole Mussolini times and like World War II, and kind of escaped all of that. But my father and his family moved to Texas when he was quite young, and he bit right into the whole Southern thing, and he's as Texan can be. I mean, you wouldn't guess that he's Italian outside of his last name. Now, what I'd like to do is really spend some time in Italy and take some tours through some of the major cities there and experience the art, experience the culture and the food, and really kind of get in touch with my heritage. I think that's something that's really important to me that I kind of been lacking in my life. And I've always been inquisitive about Italian culture, and I think there's some very beautiful places there that would just be extremely satisfying.
Is there one particular place that stands out the most to you in Italy?
Of course, I'd like to see Rome, but Milan, like the culture and the of fashion and everything there, would be pretty important for me to see. With my future ventures of wanting to put out high fashion and my clothing line and all that. But I think Florence is on the list. I think, man, it's everything there. I want to see the vineyards. I'd like to see it all, really. That's why I just stated in general. I don't think there's one specific place that I really have to go to. I want to see it all.
Understandable. There's so many amazing, beautiful things scattered all around the place. So, yeah, it really very, very impressive. And look, Gregory, I'm going to have to let you go, buddy. Thank you so much for your time. Look, I have to say you've made a really strong impression on me, and the summation of this for me is I get the image that you're a guy who's gone all in more ways than one to follow his passion. And if that's what you can share with the world so that someone else chases what is important to them on that level, I hope that you're able to share a gift like that with someone else out there.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you, inviting me to do this, and I'd love to share my story and my advice with other people, and hope that they move forward in their life, if anything.
Gregory, thank you so much for your time this evening, buddy. Have an awesome weekend, and we'll catch up very soon.
All right, bud. Thanks so much.
This has been a production by Living the Bucket List. I'm Matthew Carpenter. For more about how you can live your bucket list, hit subscribe and go to www.livingthebucketlist.me.